Hello, everybody, and welcome to CCA Div 6 Week 1. We have a very exciting matchup for you guys, but first, we are joined by our lovely Unk, Nikki. Hello, Nikki. How are you doing today?
I am ecstatic. Thank you, Jay. Really looking forward to this match. First match of the season. CCA Season 7, right? My goodness, where did all the time go? Some really big plays, or some big names in this first set. I know there's a lot of exciting veterans from on the side of PSU, and they're going up against, who is it? The Little Llamas out of Neumont University, I think?
Yep, so we are going to be having the Neumont Little Llamas versus PSU Fish. I might have put a little too much fish on there, but looking at these two teams, diving a little bit into it before we get started here, the main thing I noticed as doing my research is that this is going to be battle of the experience versus the raw talent. Usually you think that Fish is going to have the experience. However, this iteration of Fish is completely new players who have never been on Fish before. I should probably start abbreviating this. This is getting out of hand. But over on the Little Llama side, these players have been playing together for at least a year. They have previous experience being together in the previous circuit and also on the Season 6. But Nikki, do you have anything to say about these teams?
Not too many thoughts. If anything, I'm more interested in looking at this first map mode on Umami Zones, which is ironic. This is a personal least favorite of mine, Jay. Especially ironic because all my weapons are amazing on it. It's one of the few dual zone maps you see a lot in comp even now. I couldn't tell you why. Again, I'm not a big fan of this one, but it is going to be a great litmus test for both of these teams. Speaking
nervous.
Yeah, the game is very nervous. We might be seeing some DCs right out of the gate.
That's all right. I love being nervous.
What do we got comp-wise?
Oh, Hydra!
And on the side of Fish, we have an Explo, double shot, and Tetra Dually. Some interesting stuff. I am really interested to see what Little Llamas are cooking with that comp, because they got a lot of wacky stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you got a little bit of everything there with the decav and the forge. Very interested to see Soul on Explo. Unfortunately, Fish are going to be starting down 2 down with Little Llamas in the lead.
Yeah, no, an early advantage for them, but it looks like they're playing this very patiently. They got that 2 down, but they didn't even flip the zone. Fish are going to be the first team with some points on the board, trying to get a bit of an advantage going there. Big slider coming from Wallace there, going to find one.
Ooh.
We are coming off of a semi-recent patch where Slider did get a fairly notable buff, so Slider is definitely not the pushover special it once was, and I find that even now teams are still underestimating it. In these lower divs especially, Slider could do a lot of damage, and I think we're already seeing a little bit of that from Wallace as he goes down alongside whoever that T-Tech is. So now we're going to see a Slider from the Dread. They're going to get themselves killed, but it's just a shot from the side of Fish. Now would be Neumont's chance to get in there and flip the zone, but if just the Hydra, they are so slow, they're not going to be able to get that flip.
Yeah, I mean, the Hydra, unfortunately, is a very difficult weapon to move up with. Very good at just holding space, but not good at taking it. We're going to see Wallace coming in with the Slider. Note that Little Llamas has not taken off the penalty, but Narwhal here swimming in the ocean finds a pick, and it's just the Hydra left again.
Yeah, no, if you're Fish, like, what you really want to be doing is that Hydra's all alone, dive him. You want to be able to get that Hydra out, like just did. Great pick from Cracked Form here. Now is the time to get in there and try to set up. Numbers are even, but without the defensive core, another one going down as well, this would be Fish's chance to get in there and set up for a lockout. We see Wallace trying to do that, but they're going to get themselves killed very quickly in true Tetra Dually fashion. Looks like both teams are kind of falling back in the neutral. Cracked has Orbit going on a tear, finding them all. Beautiful play, flipping the zone. There goes the last. That was the quad, and that's probably going to be game 1 decisively in Penn State's favor.
Wow, Cracked Form going on a tear, gets an extra pick for the road, and Cracked Form puts the team on the back and gives Fish the first win of the set.
I was counting your fishes there. That was indeed 7. Good job. Yeah, no, that was a beautiful little streak from Cracked Form there. Taking great advantage of that new Aura mechanic, just getting the momentum and just letting it roll and roll and roll until eventually the other team, they just couldn't handle him. He was in their walls, in their heads, maybe even... I'm not going to finish that sentence.
Okay. He got a little excited.
I did get excited. Listen, that was a great play. You know, I see great plays. My heart's a bumping, blood pressure's up a little bit. I gotta reel it in a little bit. That's why you're here, Jay. You are the vanilla to my chocolate. You know what I'm saying? You're that boring analysis to handle my flavorful spice.
I thought you were gonna say like the vanilla to your non-vanilla, but I see the vision. I see the vision. But speaking back into Splatoon terms, I do think that. Listen, we gotta stay on track. I do think that Little Llamas did have a lot of very strong fights there. Like Narwhal getting that good pick onto Wallace towards the latter half of that game, and we saw it there. Like a lot of the times it was just a 1v1, but unfortunately having that Hydra is a little bit of a crutch because they cannot move forward nearly as safe as, like, let's say that was a head hit there, or let's say that was a ball point where they can fight a little more, get a little more versatile, but Llamas are going to need to take that into consideration heading into game number 2, which I believe is Rainmaker Robo Robin.
Man, this map list is really grinding my gears. This is another one I'm not a particularly big fan of. It's a very choke-heavy map. 2 ways to go, but almost every one of their grandmothers is going to push left up into the elbow area.
Unless you're Ritza.
Unless you're Ritza, apparently. It's a little bit dangerous because once a team gets past that first checkpoint, it is all downhill, basically up until you're knocking on the doorstep of the final checkpoint. So similar to something like Scorch Rainmaker, points can really snowball out of control. Once the game is nervous. I imagine someone in this room has an old man Switch that is struggling to run. But we're going to get in regardless. I didn't notice any lag issues, and it looks like Little Llamas, despite that, crushing the
bamboo.
They're confident in their comp. They're running the same thing again. Some interesting changes on the side of Fish, though. Seeing Nat pull out that 52 gal, and Soul going for the Tenacity End Zap. That is bold.
Nice! And they're running that triple shooter, the PSU Classic. I do want to point out that Fish does have 5 people on their roster, while Little Llamas only have 4. So the only team that's going to be subbing today, if they would like to, is Fish. And that's going to be Ash there, potentially subbing in future. But to now, Little Llama's off to a pretty strong start, has control of mid. Now, Fish going to need to get back in with their shooters.
You know, I noticed, I was going over all the comp changes, I somehow failed to notice probably the most wild comp change of them all. Wallace pulling out that Bamboozler. I know it's a personal favorite of his, but going from Tetris to Bamboo, it's quite the adjustment. Crack going for a big flank here, technically not finding any of them, getting the assist, finding another one. It is just the decav. They don't seem to have eyes on him. I saw him sharking on the wall, but they're going to opt just to go for the checkpoint instead. I think Crack's the one thing the Rainmaker there. And yeah, they left the decav unchecked for a bit too long. They're going to find 2, but getting that bubble up as well, that's going to slow down Fish significantly.
Yeah, now Wallace having that bamboo now is going to be able to anchor their team a little more successfully. Wallace is a very interesting character because they'll go from Tetris to bamboo to leader to shot. Like, you never know what Lord Wallace is going to play. But see here, it's going to be just this Dreadringer, but the Rainmaker is going to reset. This Dreadringer has a nasty slider online, but it's going to have to wait for their team in order to get some value out of it.
Yeah, it seems like Nat was a bit afraid of the slider there, like, which I can understand. A slider unchecked coming out of nowhere, that could definitely be pretty dangerous. But even then, the 52 is just such a fast weapon. I almost felt like it was a bit of a blunder not just to rush down the Dreadringer, and they paid the price for it. Regardless, though, Penn State finding the momentum, taking out the Hydra. That is the anchor down. If there was any time to push up, now would be it. Finding another as well. Neumont is a little bit stagnant. Finding another one. It's just the pro. Very weak there, as we can tell from the health bars. That's the delayed wipe. The path is clear. They're rushing that Rainmaker forward. Points not really ticking down terribly quickly. Nat is being extremely patient, almost a little too patient, I think.
Yeah, Nat just waiting for a wipe on a wipe as they're going to be waiting a little patiently. Here comes the slider out. Now it's the time to go. It's going to barely avoid it. I don't know what's going on. Playing Dead by Daylight on this objective here, trying to loop out the Little Llamas here, but gonna... what is going on? What is happening?
All the way back to mid. Jesus Christ, Neumont popped every single special they had. Nat is somehow alive. Not sure how much time they left on the Fish. It must have not been much. They're finally going to go down. Still getting a lot of points on the board, but honestly, that really should have been a knockout for Penn State, I think. They played that a bit too cautiously. Regardless, we have an actual game on our hands again.
Yeah, now Little Llamas looks like Akumu here with the pro, trying to work together with their teammate Narwhal, but Crack gonna beam them, and now gonna try to make a play here on the right side.
Crack once again popping aura with a delicious double there. Might have even been a triple, I couldn't quite tell before the perspective change. It is just a Dreadringer kind of pinched between the enemy team and the Rainmaker there. Soul picking up the fish, still looking for some points. By now they have a very commanding lead. They don't really need to play this too aggressively, but I mean, Penn State, they've had a lot of offensive momentum, and they seem to understand, hey, like, we could play this very defensively, but if we do that, we're just setting ourselves up for a potential last-minute comeback. Instead, they're going to find the delayed wipe. Soul very quickly, getting taken out by the sneaky suction bomb. Beautiful placement by Narwhal there.
Yeah, now Narwhal trying to make a play by themselves, unfortunately they get picked off, and now Fish has the momentum again. Gonna be staggering Little Llamas 1-2. Booyah Bomb about to be online in a second, but the Zuka might pick them off. No! Someone has a Rainmaker. Is that Fluffy again? Or is that Nat? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Nat running the Rainmaker, doing their best to stay alive. Narwhal is really cooking up these suction bombs, finding two, and there's the wipeout that they needed. If Lil Llamas had any opportunity to try to get this game back in their favor, now would be it, but I actually think Fish was cooler there. 3 out of the 4 members were back very quickly. Regardless, though, this is really the first actual push it seems like Neumont's had all game, and if a minute left on the clock, they don't have a lot of time, but this definitely isn't, like, Fish is not comfortable quite yet. Rainmaker really is the mode where anything can happen, and like I said, on a map like this where it was all downhill from the first checkpoint to the last, points can snowball out of control very quickly.
Yeah, we're seeing this Hydra here has the Flow Aura working with their Dreadringer, but I haven't seen their Hydra pop Booyah Bomb like almost at all this entire game. Looks like they're really trying to hold on to it as like a last-ditch special. Gonna find one, keeping their flow going strong, but still holding on to this Booyah Bomb.
Yeah, the Hydra's playing surprisingly forward. I was actually wondering how, like, Orva on Hydra, you don't really see that terribly often, but the Hydra's taking that forward position, using it to their advantage, and Fish seems to be struggling against it. I say that until Soul gets a nice flank on the Hydra. 10 seconds up on the clock, the last one's coming out of spawn. Looks like they're about to die. Soul popping Orva as well. That is very likely going to be a game in favor of Fish, despite them picking up the Rainmaker and running it back, which in the last few seconds of a game is a very dangerous play. They made it work regardless. I think they knew they kind of had that one on lock, and that is game 2 in favor of Penn State.
Yeah, I mean, Fish just looked, I'm not going to say way more dominant, but just a little more dominant that game, having control for nearly the entire game until Little Llama's checkpoint push. I do think that Little Llama still has plenty of fight in them. I just think a small change might be best for him.
Here's what I'm seeing. I noticed this in the first game, but we jumped into the second game so quickly I didn't get a chance to touch on it. Little Llama's comp, in my opinion, it's comprised of some strong stuff. Frozen Pro, probably like the definitive midline of the meta right now. At least midline shooter, I should say. Dreadringer, staple of the meta for some time. And then Decav, depending on who you ask, is a top 5 weapon in the game. The Hydra is really the only wild card they have. But the thing I'm noticing is that all 5 of those... All 5? Jesus, I can't count anymore. All 4 of those weapons, they're very slow. A lot of them are very clunky weapons. When they get into position, they are incredibly strong. But without like a solid, aggressive core to really push their slower players into those aggressive positions, they seem to be struggling a lot of momentum. We saw that a ton in the Umami game. They were getting the picks. There were multiple instances where Fish was 2 down, but Llamas was just moving up too slowly to really capitalize off of those opportunities. And I think we saw a little bit of that this game as well. The only push they really got came off of a wipeout that they got at just the right time. And then even then, like the second they hit that first checkpoint and had to slow down for a minute, they got pushed back out again because Fish is able to play just so much more quickly.
Yeah, I guess one of the things I do notice is that all of their weapons are pretty clunky, like you said. They don't really have like that brush or like that shooty, flashy shot. I think that's why Cracked Form is able to get a lot of those picks, because as soon as like they're all caught off guard, they have like it takes forever for them to like turn in the direction. But
right.
I do think that this next map is going to help Little Llamas out a lot. We're going to be heading to TC Museum up next.
TC Museum. This is a certified classic. One that you actually don't see terribly often in comp anymore, which I think is a bit of a shame, because I do like this one quite a bit. In terms of things to look out for, range is absolutely huge on this map. I mean, this was the original E-Leader Paradise, I'd say, before Moray. Actually, it came out after Moray. What am I saying? Point is, range is strong here. A single strong backline, like that Hydra, for instance, can lock down a lot of mid, and if that Hydra gets set up on mid spinner, or better yet, the opposing team spinner, yeah, that can do a lot of damage. And the Hydra seems to realize the power of
the... ball point from that.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of big switches. I was gonna mention the Bubble Hydra on the side of Lil Llamas. Makes sense, it is tower control. Bubble is the literal equivalent of 3 points. But Nat, looking to do some tower cheese themselves, it seems like, pulling out Vacuum Ballpoint, which is one of my favorite kits in the entire game. It's a damn crime this weapon isn't played more often, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I want to tell a little tale about Nat because this is their first season in the CCA. They were originally, and I believe they still play Smash Bros. They happened to come to one of our meetings like the day before tryouts like closed, and we were like, you should try it out. So here they are trying it out, making their season debut, swapping between 52 and Nautilus here, but has the lead early on. But now Little Llamas are on the push.
Yeah, no, Lil Llama's taking that advantage. Not seeing the roller, though. That is tragic. Oh, the Hydra was in a beautiful position. They had their bubble for that first checkpoint, but still getting the cheeky flank on him with that V-roller. Looking a bit like you from Season 5, my guy. Hopefully he could do a bit better job of V-roller than you could. But regardless, looks like both teams are falling back into neutral. Slight advantage in Fish's favor, but again, that Hydra is able to lock down so much in mid, and Fish is very bunched up right now. They really got to spread out before that slider. And finds one, finding the second as well. They don't seem to notice the Dreadringer behind them. Looking to find some more picks here. Is that, who is that up there?
That's correct.
Way back behind enemy lines. Maybe a bit foolishly, the tower kind of got ahead of them, and they really didn't get a lot of value out of that flank. Also, I'm just now noticing Neumont is actually double bubble, so they're really going for that grade A tower cheese, it seems like.
Yeah, now they're on the move. It seems like it's working because Little Llama is approaching the second checkpoint. This slider could be big if used in the right spot, but Crackform trying to call it out. I believe gets a double there. And now Fisher on the move.
Yeah, Cracked really seems to be the ever-present fly in Neumont's ointment. They cannot get this kid out of their walls. Wasting one of those show. It doesn't matter. It was just for show. They still find one with it. Numbers even right now. Never mind. Fish is going to go down. And again, like that Hydra makes pushing for Fish just so incredibly difficult. Now he gets stuck in vacuum, but I mean, in my opinion, Decaf is the single best vacuum counter in the entire game, so the Vac's going to have a hard time finding value. Soul forced to jump out. Fish seems to be kind of staggered. They keep running in one by one, and they're just constantly going one down at a time.
Is Nat about to flank with ballpoint? Okay, I was about to say, I saw him lining up on the right, and I was like, but surely they don't drop, right? No. Actually, I mean, dude, no, I thought Fish had double bubble, but that's vacuum. Vacuum and bubble. Sorry, I get a little distracted here. Little Llama's gonna get wiped out from by Fish, and now this might be Fish's time to actually push up. Notice how Cracked going right to the key position. Nova taught them well last season when they were on Team Rocket. Now, Cracked form up ahead, and now Fisher on the move.
Yeah, Crack doing the right thing, taking advantage of that wipeout again to that fourth position, finding all the picks, getting a wipeout for their team, and I think popping over there as they went down. Fish is on the move past first checkpoint. All of their specials online, including both Bubble and Vacuum. This is probably going to be the second checkpoint taken for free. No one from Neumont's really threatening the tower. Huge plays. There's the lead in favor of Fish, and they're keeping this push going. Both Bubble and Vacuum online. Picks still falling on the side of Neumont. They really got to get their act together. Tower rapidly approaching the final checkpoint. Keeping the momentum up. They're finally going to go down, but it's just the pro back there. Never mind, Decaf was up on Snipe. Cracked still finding picks. This man is a monster. They're past checkpoint 3, and is that going to be the game? Yes.
Yes, it is.
They're going up 3-0 in the set. This is match points for Penn State coming up. Great push.
Yeah.
Great. That was basically a 100-0 push for them.
Yeah, Little Llama starting out that game strong, but Fish just came back to retaliate. Cracked form, doing it again, moving up. I believe they got a triple, if not a quad, after that wipeout, just creating the opening for their team, getting Fish to match point, and now Little Llama is going to need to bring out something different here if they want to get back into this, I think.
Yeah, tensions are definitely high for them. They've been sticking pretty hardcore to that slow, clunky comp of Pro, Dread, Hydra, and Decaf. They're making a few adjustments kit-wise, but for the most part, they seem confident with it. And if I were them, like, you know, you're in a match point scenario. It's now or never, if you'll pardon the expression. If there ever was a chance to make some comp changes, now would be it. But that last game really demonstrated what I was talking about, speed being Penn State's greatest advantage right here. They got one wipeout. They only had one player up in that forward aggressive position, but just the sheer speed at which Cracked got up into that forward position, they were completely unprepared for it. And from there, Penn State just completely ran away with the game with the space that he cleared out by taking that forward position so quickly. If Cracked had just decided to play that a bit more passively, hang out around his team with the rest of his team around the tower, and just kind of slowly inch their way up, they probably would have gotten the first checkpoint, maybe would have threatened the second one, but they probably would have been pushed off quickly after that, as Neumont would have had the space they needed to regroup, take those positions, and get back into things. So yeah, speed really is the name of the game here. If you're Neumont, you gotta play faster. Penn State is trampling you with how quickly all of them, but Cracked in particular. That man he's got a need for speed. He's on a mission. He's hyped up on sugar crystals, probably snorting crushed up Lucky Charms. And we're going in the game for ladies and germs. Match point for Penn State on Clam Blitz Crab Leg. I forgot the name of the map. The game is still nervous. Jay, are you excited? I'm very excited.
I am pretty excited. It's a little nervous now. I just received word that Cracked Form is actually playing on tabletop in a lecture right now.
In a lecture?
Yes.
The madman. Jesus Christ, this man, you know what? He's been popping aura a lot. The dude has aura in real life. That is wild.
Yeah, I did want to talk a little bit about these 4 players on Fish. Each of these players actually were on a different team last semester. You have Wallace from PSU White, Cracked Form from PSU Team Rocket, Soul from PSU Caffeinated Coolers, and Fluffy, their first season playing. So all of these players, just kind of a mashup of a bunch of different PSU teams here together to try to get the clean sweep to start off the week 1 of season 7.
Yeah, a pretty good demonstration also of like synergy not necessarily being everything. Just because these players are all new to each other, they don't really have that prior experience. Like all it takes is one good week or even just one good set to really find your rhythm with each other and lock in. And I feel like we're seeing that from Fish. They're playing like a well-oiled machine. They're covering all of those roles. Crack being their crazy aggressive front line. They have Matt and Wallace kind of playing, or even still playing that backline role. Like they're covering their bases very nicely. Although this is kind of an explosive push. Crack nearly falling off the map. Gonna jump out, forcing out that bubble on the complete opposite side of the map. So not a terrible play. We're into this game, and it feels like neither team has really gotten a clear-cut advantage.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I actually did notice now looking at it is that out of these 4 games so far, there's been a different anchor for Fish 3 out of the 4 games. Nat was the ballpoint for games 3 and 4, Soul was the X-Blow in game 1, and then Wallace was the Bamboo in game 2.
Yeah, that flexibility is really something that to be admired in teams when different players can kind of cover each other's weaknesses. A big slider coming through, gonna find one, barely missing the pick on the other, gonna trade it out. Good play from Wallace there, really taking advantage of slider. And multiple specials still in line with a ball. If Nat is smart about their vacuum, this could be a big push incoming, but they really got to get this decav out first. That decav is going to be the hard counter to the vacuum cheese they hope to pull off.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're sticking to vacuum despite seeing the decaf for multiple games now. We see here, Little Llamas has the advantage now. And now trying to push through mid, but do they see Soul Temp? Soul Temp's gonna pop the Killer Whale, gonna invade this decav, and now moving in to try to cause some chaos.
Yeah, good play of the Whales there. Their usage of Whale kind of reminded of something that you or Mare would do with Ink Crush. Granted, albeit not to the same caliber as you guys. To my knowledge, Soul is far from an Ink Crush one-trick like you guys. But even still, like, the intent was there, using the Whales to kind of scatter the enemy, use them as distraction, slip by undetected.
Oh!
And there's the wipeout. Lots of clams online and a vacuum for continuation. Here it comes. This is going to be big points for Fish. You're really happy right now.
Lord Triple with the slider.
They're gonna get wiped out. That's gonna give Neumont a lot of space to retaliate for potential counter push, but even still, 61 points in one push, that is what you want to see in Clam Blitz. Like, even just like 30 to 40 points, that's usually the best you can hope for. So 60 points, you're very happy if you're Penn State. I think they played great special coordination.
That's going to be a very safe bubble coming out from Narwhal, but now this coming out, no, not going to be enough. Soul Temp shuts it down. They are going to open the basket, but it's just Squiddo with this Hydra Splatling being the last one alive for their team. All 3 of them are jumping in.
Their teammates are jumping in like madmen. They're gonna get away with it. Penn State, once again, being a bit too reluctant to rush down the Hydra, I think. And I don't blame them. That Hydra does have a lot of firepower, but also, you're 4 up. It's just the Hydra. Like, dive his ass.
No.
That's the beauty of Div 6, though. I wanted to mention this when you mentioned the potential possibility of a flanking ballpoint. The beauty of these low divs, not a big slider, by the way. The beauty of these lower divs is that it really is like the Wild West. Unorthodox strategies and like strange plays, they happen all the time because these players are a bit less developed. And because of that, like, games are very exciting because, frankly, you have no idea what to expect. Here comes a vacuum for continuation. Penn State doesn't have a lot of clams to work with, but...
Yeah, the pity, though.
Jumping up the
They're
pity.
jumping in with the pity.
They keep it alive, and they get the pity in great play. They just need one, and Nat gets it in, securing the win for Penn State. Decisive 4-0 clean sweep. I can't say I was expecting that. Neumont was the favorite to win, weren't they?
Yeah, Neumont was the 3. Little Llamas were the 3 seed. Fish was the 4 seed.
My goodness, great! Like, I'm gonna say that. I'm like, genuinely, I honestly think that might have been. Well, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to say. That museum push was really good, but that was a damn good showing from Fish and Clamblitz. Both their pushes absolutely stellar. That last one, jumping up the pity, they did not have enough time to make it, but one of their teammates recognizing that, ducking back and sneaking just one extra clam in to keep it alive for just long enough so they can dunk that power clam, and then Nat running back, getting that last clam and securing the victory. Like, the practice of kind of pacing yourselves, pacing the way you score, only throwing in a few clams at a time to try to stall out the basket for as long as possible, that's typically a strategy that's reserved for, like, higher div play. Like, that's definitely not something you would expect to see in Division 6, for instance, and they were pulling it off effortlessly, I think. So, really impressive stuff. I'm thoroughly surprised.
Yeah, and I mean, Little Llama's still putting out a very good showing, even though the first week wasn't to be in your favor. Still plenty of matches to be played, and that is the good part about League, is that you still control your own destiny, win the next 4 games, and you're still in the playoffs. But per CCA fashion, we are going to be doing a playoff 7, so stick around, folks, because we're going to be having 3 more exciting games coming up real soon.
Yeah, no, the playoff, a favorite tradition of mine. I know this has been a thing in CCA for a while. It's pretty common nowadays. The set's over. Penn State has the win in the books in these next 3 matches. I don't believe count for any statistical purposes, but even still, it's a great way for all these teams to kind of just let the nerves die down a little bit. You know, the stakes are a lot lower now. It's time to just have some fun, try out some new things, get some extra practice in, and for the sake of fish, they get a chance to take a bit of a victory lap, which always feels good. As well as this is Neumont's chance to see if they could take one for the road. Even if you lose, just getting that last win, that last up yours way out the door, it's a great feeling. But yeah, it seems like we're going to be going into Game 5 pretty shortly. Jay, do you know what map mode we're going into?
So we are going to be heading to Zones Urchin Underpass.
Oh god, I really like this one. It's our newest map in the game. Unfortunately, it seems like Urchin, we really only see it in zones, none of the other 3 modes. But that's okay, because in my humble opinion at least, this is a very good map for zones. Lots of exciting plays. It's one of the only maps in the game that has like a legitimate flank that doesn't just dump you into the same spot of mid as like every other map. Neumont sticking to their classic comp, and Fish pulling out a custom X-Blow, Octobrush, and Squiffer. I swear to God, Fish.
Squiffer! Oh my god.
These players are so flexible. Like, their weapon pools are all so deep. And yeah, that's cracked on Squiffer. I thought for sure it'd be Wallace. The map.
Oh my god!
What a flick. Early advantage for Fish, finding 3. It's just the last one. Walla diving him, popping Aura right out of the gate, and now moving up into that aggressive lockout position. Whip Zipcaster online of this.
I do want to note that Little Llamas does have the zap now. I believe that's their first change of the night. Originally being, not sure what that was before, but Frozen Pro, right. So now having the zap could give them a little more speed, but the Hydra popping Booyah Bomb for the first time all game. Gonna try to get some picks with this. Gonna find 1, hopefully finding 2 soon, but crack forming this Squiffer. Too oppressive with the Squiffer.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is, I mean, they made some space with that Booyah Bomb, even finding a pick, but the problem is that they had no one alive to really play off the pick, which is kind of similar to what we saw in the Umami game. The Hydra was the last one alive. They were finding the picks, but they had no one to actually take it. They had no one to move up and actually take the space that they were clearing out. Regardless, there's the wipeout. Narwhal, once again, I feel like popping their bubble a little bit prematurely. But regardless, they are sharking in that forward position. Not quite a lockout. If you're Penn State, you're not quitting over this, especially as Wall is sneaking behind him on that Octobrush.
The tap shot.
Tap shotting them with a Squiffer, making it look like a bamboo. And there's the reverse wipeout. All specials online for Penn State, moving into that aggressive lockout position. This is going to be dangerous for Neumont.
Yeah, bubble coming out now. Narwhal trying to get in there, trying to use that melee damage to their advantage. Gonna dive in, gonna find a trade with Nat, and now it's gonna be numbers still advantage for Fish.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, Fish really keeping this momentum up. And they're doing it without Cooler, no less, which is impressive. Like, they're going down, but, I mean, the rest of Fish is doing such a good job of getting safe jump-ins for their team. We see Soul with that Explode, taking that top left position exactly wants to be. Getting ran by the Reef Slider, that is beautiful, but unfortunately they get themselves killed in the process. And if no Slider online for Slider Cheese, that's probably going to be Game 5 in favor of Penn State.
Yeah, I do want to give a special shout out there. Wallace doing a lot of work on that Octobrush. Originally playing Inkbrush / Octobrush a few seasons back, made a few small switches, but now looks like I don't even know what they're doing this season. We're going to have to find out as we go along. But Fish, another dominant performance, going to take this extra game even though it does not count for the score. But still, Little Llamas, I like how they're getting a little bit experimental. It's going to be interesting to see what they bring out in the next game.
Yeah, no, I didn't even notice the zap at first because I've been so conditioned to expect roughly the same stuff for them each game. So it is nice to see them trying some new things. Seems like the cooler might have been it's like they're listening to the stream or something. That cooler definitely would help them play a lot faster. But it seems like even without the cooler, Penn State's able to just outpace them. One thing I did notice is that I think not a single player on Neumont ever tried to dropping right, taking that flank into zone and going for the back cap. Even if you don't get a strong hold out of it, it's still good to pull attention away from the main choke and back into zone, which will let the rest of your team trying to push through that main choke to get a little bit of breathing room, find some space, find a few picks, and try to get back in the zone. It seems like Neumont, they opted to push hard left out of spawn just over and over again, and Penn State, they were anticipating that, they were ready for it, and they would just, they were feeding a blender, basically, which isn't ideal. But regardless, I mean, Neumont, they're making the changes they need to be making. That NZEP, I think, is a smart adaptation. They just got to push it a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, heading to a very familiar map mode combo up next in Rainmaker Scorch. I feel like this map has gotten some hate, not a little recently, but a little bit in the past, because people think it's very stall heavy, which it is, but I don't know. What do you think about Rainmaker Scorch?
Ironically, it's actually a very similar map mode to a Scorch Rainmaker, I think. Literally just if you flipped the map from left to right. You got a first checkpoint. You got a first checkpoint up and up. Yeah.
What are you?
That Scorch Rainmaker is our map, right?
So Jay, what are you comparing Scorch Rainmaker to Scorch Rainmaker?
Oh, excuse me. I had a huge brain fart. Scorch to Ramen Rainmaker. My fault. Very similar layout, just flipped horizontally. I had a total brain slur. Sorry. Jeff Bezos is really beating my ass at work. What?
Oh, nice.
Anyways, it's similar map. You got a first checkpoint up in an elbow area, and then after that, it's basically all downhill from first check all the way till you're knocking on the doorstep of the last check. That first checkpoint is a brutal choke point. Trying to get through there, it is quite the meat grinder. But if you can get past that choke point, you get that downhill portion, points can snowball out of control very quickly. Looking back at Neumont, they're going back to that Frozen Pro. Apparently not liking how the NZAP was feeling. And on the side of Fish, we have a Kraken Roller coming out this time from Soul. I will be making fun of them. But
what's wrong with Kraken Roller?
Pretty standard stuff. No, I love Kraken Roller. I just want to make fun of this man's Kraken usage.
Oh, true. I do also want to point out that Akumu on that Frozen Pro is running Ninja Squid. Very interesting choice to see on a Frozen Pro.
We have Neumont picking up the Rainmaker, taking advantage of that 2-0 situation, and it looks like they have one player trying to get up into the grill. What's that weapon called again? Decav. I had a huge brain fart. Man, I'm so flustered after that map mode thing.
Bro, you're like PSU Arctan on Clam Blitz.
Yeah, but here comes the Kraken. It seems like they got a bit of choice paralysis, not deciding they wanted to camp the jump or go after the Frozen Pro there. They did get one pick out of it though. Pretty solid usage, and now in a 4th position. If they do some smart sharking now, they might be able to get a lot of value out of that position. I say as they opt to challenge the Hydra and get immediately mowed down, so never mind. Yeah,
Crackform on the Rainmaker gets a few nice picks, and now it's going to be a 2v2. No, just Soul Tap, and that's going to be a total party kill as Neumont and Little Llamas gets the wipe.
Yeah, Neumont's defense finally shining through. Again, that first checkpoint is such a brutal choke point that I feel like Neumont's slower comp can actually really excel here. They just gotta be careful that they don't lose too many numbers at the same time, like they just did. But luckily with the Fish in their possession, they're gonna have a lot of time to play with. Even if PSU kills the Rainmaker, they gotta wait for the Rainmaker to reform, pop it, and then keep on going. Although Neumont does seem to be staggered. It was first the Pro and the Decav rule taken out, and as soon as they respawned, the Hydra and the Dread went down. So they really gotta focus on slowing down, playing for life, and making sure that they're all alive to stop this Rainmaker.
Yeah, but they do have the strikes online. Gonna be interesting to see if they try to rush this Rainmaker with it. Electing to play a little more patient on their strikes. Gonna give little Llamas a chance to breathe. But now Lord Wallace moving in with the team. But these missiles are gonna do pretty good job at stopping it. Now Soltemp here trying to shark with his crack on roller. Not gonna find the pick, and now Akumu gets a nice double.
Yeah, beautiful play from the Frozen Pro. This really seems to be Akumu's game. We're really focusing on them. Barely missing the kill on Nat there. They were literally on 1 HP, and they're not going to get it. And Nat gets aura off of that. That is a horrible feeling if you're on the losing side of it. If you're Nat, though, you're kind of popping off right now. Trying to take advantage of aura. Moving up. Fighting two. Big Splat Bomb and Specials online and a Kraken. It is just the Frozen Pro. Soul, get your ass up there, my guy. Your life is worthless. Just dive him, get yourself killed, get points for your team. There's the lead, and we're seeing the snowball of Scorch taking effect here. Going from, what was that, 60 points all the way down to 20. Oh my god! There's the wipeout, and there's the game, ladies and gentlemen.
I think Nat just found a triple there at the end with 52. Just completely getting up in their faces. Taking 1, taking 2, taking 3. And Nat, the star of the show, Fish taking the 6th game. And they might even go for the full 7.
I think I got my players confused. The T-Tech was cracked, wasn't it?
The T-Tech was Nat, cracked was the Squiffer.
Oh, never mind. Dude, I'm losing my damn mind. What is going on?
What is happening?
What time zone am I in? Like, what am I smoking right now?
Yeah, Rainmaker Scorch.
But yeah, no. Remember when I said Rainmaker's the mode where anything can happen? Exhibit A. They got one big wipeout off, or like just one advantage really, one double for Splat Bomb, and they ran it from 100 to 0 points in what, like 25, 30 seconds tops, if even. So yeah, no, Rainmaker, very volatile mode. No lead is safe in it. That's really what you got to remember. So another great showing for PSU. They are knocking on the door of that clean 7-0 sweep. If you're Neumont, you got one more chance to lock in. See if you could take one for the road. I know they could do it. They've been making some good plays. They're just making a few really key blunders that are letting them down in each of these games.
Yeah, and now we are going to be heading to the final game of the set. Can you take a guess at what it might be on?
Let's see here. It must be something tower control. Is it TC Mahi perchance?
What? Bro, where are you, bro? TC Mahi? When's the last time you played TC Mahi in CCA?
Like, in CCA? Never.
What are they doing? That's not what we Turf War.
Oh, they picked the wrong mode. I didn't even notice. These cats. What are they cooking? They're going double backline though, assuming this is the comp they want to run. Nat and Cracked going. That's Cracked on E-Leader. The man is truly out of this world. Donnie, you're out of your element. What are you doing, bro?
But can you tell what map mode it is?
Okay, so I'm pretty sure it's TC Stinkblot. This is the map mode of all time, truly.
Bats.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you could describe this map mode in one word for the lovelies at home, what would you say?
Bats. We love bats.
All about bats. If I remember the day I got into comp, and my what's the word? Our wise mentor and also our lovely producer for this set. Shout outs to Kraken Mare, everyone, by the way. Subscribe.
You didn't say your dude crush.
My dude crush, Kraken Mare. He's way better at this game than any of us. I remember when I was first loading how to get into comp, and he sat me down one day on museum tower control because I got my ass whooped, and he tried to explain key locations to me, and I was like, I'm not sure I understand. And he sat me down in recon on Inkblot tower control and said, you see this area? This is called bats. And this is a key location. If you have the key location, you just win. So take it. That's Inkblot in a nutshell. It is bats truly is the definitive key location. If you have bats, you are going to steamroll them. If you don't have bats, the second and third checkpoints are almost impossible to take. The entire game, 99% of the game, happens in that one small elevated position in the back left corner of the map. Like that is 99% of the game. Mid, the stacks, the enemy plat, the flanks, who cares? It is all about bats, and then some.
I guess you could say grab it, because you gotta have it.
You want to grab bats, because you gotta have bats. If you don't have bats, you are almost certainly going to lose. So hopefully they got the modes correct this time. We're going to be loading into the game very shortly now. Oh god, it's fucking my throat, forgive me.
What are the
Go ahead.
What are the odds that one of them plays leader? You think they're going to stick it?
That's what I was going to say. I'm wondering if they're going to stick to that wacky double backline comp. I mean, this is Game 7. Like, Fish, frankly, I mean, they're up 6-0 in the set, effectively. Like, to say they're feeling themselves would be an understatement. Like, they are inside of themselves, pretty much. No, they are going to make some adjustments. They're
Lord Stamper.
And yeah, we got Stamper on the Stamper. We have Wallace on the white Stamper, which for some reason makes me think of No Concrete.
No Concrete!
There we go. It was only a matter of time. Losing the sword duel to Narwhal. Wallace, you're banned from playing Stamper, my guy. And now this Decap's in a really dangerous spot. Crack continuing to impress with the Squiffer, though. I say as they get blown up at point-blank range like a...
What? Like a what? As we see here, Fluffy Nat trying to play frontline ballpoint. Unfortunately, is going to get picked off. And now Squiddo trying to find his pick on Lord Concrete. And unfortunately going to get picked off. And now picks trading left and right. Narwhal trying to move in.
Yeah, in a really dangerous position up on the opposing stack. If their team wanted to take tower, now would be a great time. Although I suppose they are numbers down. And with that ballpoint being such an ever-present thorn in their side, that really is the defensive anchor. They're going to have to make sure it's dead before they try pushing the tower. And we kind of just saw the reverse of that. If Penn State wants to take the tower, that Hydra has to be the first to go, because otherwise they're going to have free reign over it. I'm also noticing that Neumont is going back to the bubble Hydra, which means yet again they are a double bubble. So we're going to have to see how hopefully it works out a little bit better for them this time.
Yeah, now Nat with the vacuum's not going to be able to suck up those missiles in time. Watch out, he's got AirPods in. No! They're going to go 2 down, and Little Llamas has the numbers advantage, but no way to push that bubble.
Yeah, bit of a stally game. It's just Akumu here on the Frozen Pro trying to shark out the tower. This looks to be Penn State's chance to get past that first checkpoint. If I was Penn State, I would be getting one up in the bats already, honestly. The enemy team is all bunched up on the plat. Get them the bats, get behind them, just dive them from behind. But no, they don't even... big double from Narwhal here. Another one forced to jump out. It is just the... I don't even know who's still in... like out of spawn right now. It seems like they were coming out of spawn. So that's basically a delayed wipe. And a very nice bubble in a poor position, threatening the edges of bats. Narwhal really needs to get up there. Seems like they heard me through the screen. They're getting in there, trying to find some picks. Gonna find in a really dangerous position. The members of
Narwhal!
It's just the ballpoint stuck in that far back position, stuck in vacuum, but the decaf says, fuck your vacuum. I can just hit through it because I'm the best weapon in the game. They are steamrolling past that second checkpoint, and ladies and gentlemen, this is TC Inkblot in a nutshell. They took bats, and they are running away with this game.
Yeah, now Narwhal trying to move up into their spawn. Unfortunately, is going to get picked off, and now this is Fish's time to try to get back in it. Crackform, do something with the Squiffer. Wait, no, that weapon stinks. How is he alive? What is happening? Bro,
yeah, how did they do there? My goodness.
I told him, so PSU Splatoon, we have our meetings every Wednesday. I specifically told Crackform if he was going to play Squiffer, I was going to dog on him every single play he makes, so that's why.
You just did pretty well with it for the most part.
I don't know.
I mean, that was stupid, but I mean, you know, it did something, and now Nat's kind of carrying the team with vacuum. Putting it on flat, but once again, the decab is really just the ever-present thorn in Nat's side. Every time they pop vacuum, the decab's like, it's free real estate. Let me get in there and just, like, ching it up. And they're getting a lot of value out of that.
Yeah, Wallace finds a nice pick with the Zipcaster. Unfortunately, it's likely to be punished by their recall, but no, stays alive somehow. And then now might get beamed by this Hydra.
I'm sorry, did you just say beamed?
Crackform trying to find a pick here with the Squiffer. Not going to find it. Has the bubble online. Going to elect to pop it, but looks like they're not going to get too much value as it is behind the tower.
Yeah, I feel like Squiffer, I mean, I'm no Squiffer main, but it seems like the range of this weapon really isn't doing Crack any favors. Like, being able to stack the bubble, a beautiful position for any charger, but the Squiffer just doesn't have the range to take advantage of it. But even still, this looks to be a pretty big point for Penn State. Nat going frontline at ballpoint, finding one, but with no one in bats, the push is kind of petering out. I say as the vacuum comes out, get the decaf out, and this could be big points, but no one cares about the decaf. Points still taken down there. They are threatening that lead. Decaf still looming large, and there's the wipeout and the aura for Narwhal. Ooh,
yeah, Narwhal.
They got nervous. They were feeling the balls of that lead, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, I do know what you mean there. And Narwhal is their main aggressor, finally starting to let it shine here. 30 seconds left to go into the game. Narwhal just contesting this ballpoint here from far right, and now with 20 seconds left to go, Fish are going to need a miracle to get back into this one.
Yeah, no, the ball is very much in Penn State's court here. Them going 2 down, less than 15 seconds, and if the tower being pushed deeper into their territory. If you're Neumont, it might seem kind of, like, unnecessary to keep pushing the tower here, but even just having the tower deep into enemy territory, it means
Concrete!
that much more of a buffer to go through.
Go Concrete!
Right in the point.
Go Concrete!
Bo's jumping in, finding some big Concrete! You a bomb, they gotta get on tower ASAP! What are you guys doing? Get on there! Okay. They're keeping it alive. Hanging on by a thread. Big picks. The vacuum is going to be online, but again, Narwhal is really.
Uh-oh.
There they go again. Why does vacuum even exist when decaf exists? And Neumont successfully taking one for the road. Good stuff, guys.
Yeah, Neumont there with a strong showing. Narwhal just taking over that game, getting the main push going all the way into their spawn. And Neumont Little Llamas gonna be going off of a win for the last game of the set. Even though it doesn't matter, it's still gotta feel good.
Yeah, and like any win as a morale boost, like sometimes that's all you need. You couldn't win the what's the best way to describe it actually? Like you couldn't quite close out the victory, but like you show them, hey, like we could have, like we put up a good fight. We got that one for the road. That last up yours on our way out the door. You missed out on the satisfaction of getting a clean 7-0 sweep. Eat shit and die. But no, if I was in Nat's position, like playing V96 with that vacuum, I'd be spiking my controller. Like those vacuums were getting hard shut down by the decav. Like, bro, why does vacuum even exist when weapons like swords can just do that to them? In all honesty, I feel like the rest of Penn State could have been a bit wiser about trying to keep Nat safe from the decav. There were a lot of times where she popped vacuum, and the decav was a fair ways away. The decav is clearly going to bum rush them because, you know, that's what a decav does when they see a bubble. They could almost anticipate that and use the vacuum to bait them in to get the decav out more easily, but it seems like they weren't really doing that. They just let the decav just trample them, really. So, good stuff for Narwhal and the rest of their team. Yeah, no, just a great last game to close out this set. Jay, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah. Fish taking their first set in a strong fashion. Next week is going to be playing Splat Syndicate out of University at Albany. That's going to be the 6th seed of this group. Meanwhile, Neumont Little Llama is going to be taking a trip all the way to Kutztown University, playing some familiar Kutztown people from Pennsylvania, the 2 seed of the group. So Little Llama is going to be playing the higher seed, going to have a little bit of a tree to climb if they want to find a win in the next week, while Fish is going to be playing the 6th seed, but never let your guard down. Anything can happen in the CCA.
Again, in these lower divs, it really is the Wild West. Anything can happen. Seeding's a lot more muddy down here. A lot of these players are unknown. They don't have results. But just because you're unknown, just because you're a new name, doesn't mean you're not a force to be reckoned with. So look forward to it. Speaking of things to look forward to, after all, we are endorsing Penn State Splatoon. And Jay, I believe this is far from the only Penn State Splatoon match that we plan to produce, is it not?
As of right now, we are going to be streaming one other match later this weekend. I believe it is going to be PSU Blue Nouveau, as they like to call themselves, playing Sunday at, I want to say 4 p.m. Yes, 4 p.m. because it's right after I get done work. So we are going to be having a stream for that. Hopefully getting PSU Nebula on stream Saturday at 11, but we don't have the people for that yet. Stay tuned for that. But other than that, we can take a quick peek at these stats if we'd like. That could be fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would, cracked unsurprisingly popping off that game. I mean, yeah, if our lovely producer wants to scroll through the stats as we wrap things up, I mean, the stats speak for themselves, I'd say. Wallace popping off that game, goddamn. Let's talk about something more fun, Jay. Shamelessly selling ourselves out. Where can the lovelies at home find you?
Well, you can find me. I mean, normally I would say PSU Blue, but not this season. You can find me on PSU Mama Sume, as DRF would like to call it.
Here, bro.
We aren't going to be having a match this week, but next week we should be doing our season opener. But other than that, Nikki, obviously you can say what you got to say. But Kraken Mare going to be streaming. I want to say 9:30. Correct? Yeah, around 9:30 tonight. Kraken Mare is going to be streaming, our lovely producer. So feel free to show him some support. Some very high level gameplay there that you won't want to miss. You
absolutely should show him some support. He is only the greatest and hottest man this side of the Mississippi. Like, if I were a woman, dude, come on. Come on.
What about the other side of Mississippi?
Anyway, the other side of Mississippi would have to be DRF, I think, or Mewtwo. It's hard to pick one.
Oh, nice.
Anyways, if y'all like the sound of my dumb voice and the insanely out-of-pocket nonsense I have to say, you can find me over at my YouTube channel, Nikki. I don't upload a lot of VODs anymore, but I want to get back into it. I'm actually playing in a set of Ludi in about 5 minutes, so I should probably get the hell out of here. I don't know if any of my teammates will be streaming it, but I mean, hey, like, if you like me, you know where to find me.
You should stream your POV.
I should. Dude, my setup is smashed right now. I don't have the bandwidth to do so. But someday I'm gonna get back into it. In the meantime, folks, Jay, do you got anything else to add?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I'd like to thank you all for being here, showing support to both of these amazing teams. PSU Fish. Little Llamas from Neumont. Both of these teams looking good. Hopefully keeping up their strengths for the rest of the season. But other than that, thank you guys so much for being here. And cheer on these PSU teams over the weekend. Yippee!